What's up, everybody? This is a late night get right stream we're having. It's called The Passionate Few, how to 10x your money. Now, why are we talking about money, Erica? Why are we 10xing our money? Well, the key here is, honestly, the past couple of days, we've all been kind of swarmed with, Trump news and other issues that probably don't even add to our bottom line, right? Like, I remember when Tim Ferriss said you should have a low information diet, and people were like, "Oh, you horrible person! You, how dare you say people should have a low information diet?" But now that I'm in a place where I am actually working and building a business, I'm like, he actually was right. It is good sometimes to have a low information diet, and it is good to direct one's mind. Now, what do I mean by directing one's mind? People are usually unhappy when they're aimless. Now, what does that mean, aimless? That means when they don't have a direction, they don't have a goal, they don't have a plan for the next 6 months. You'll notice when people sometimes start getting bored, they start making plans to travel. You ever notice that? Like, we're gonna go on a vacation. We're gonna do this, because all of a sudden that vacation gives them a goal. It gives them something to aim for. It gives them something to focus on. It changes their perspective. Well, apply that same vacation mentality to your everyday life. Okay, so here's the thing. Recognition is important. It does help our self-esteem. And so you've noticed all these studies showing all these millennial kids they have so much self-esteem, but they don't have any talents and they don't have any skills. They haven't done anything yet, because parents kind of got part of the equation right, but not the whole equation. You need some recognition. You need yes, you're going in the right direction to help you. And so this is all this video is. It's going in the right direction. The mind works best when it's active. I'll just say personally for myself, I was on Facebook this week. And I found myself fussing, and that's not accurate, and I have this stat and all this other stuff. And I said, wait a minute. Let's pull ourselves out of this, completely pull ourselves out of this, and go back to focus. I just dropped the course on how to be an author. But the key here is, if you can devote an hour a day towards your goal. What is your goal? If you can devote an hour a day towards writing that book, if you can devote an hour a day towards building that podcast, that business, if you can put an hour a day towards investing or reading about investing. A lot of times I get messages from you guys about stock picks and YouTube channels I should check out. And I enjoy that, because that means at least you're actively searching and reaching for a goal. So the key here is, discontent is okay. Right? Because some people say, well, I'm upset because I wanted to be here and not there. Discontent is just what we have and what we want. Now, I can't help you get a better spouse. I can't help you necessarily get a better job, but I can help you make some better financial decisions, because ultimately it's you who help you get the better job. It's you who creates these opportunities for yourself. Does that make sense? So let's say your goal, a simple one, is to 10x your money. Not necessarily all at one time, but increments. I was posted on my Facebook channel, Facebook page, if you guys ever follow it. It's Erica Williams, same name, about people who were job hoppers made more money than people who were job stayers. Now, why is that? Because when they hop job, they asked for more. 9 times out of 10, they asked for more. They made up what income they lost. I've told you guys a story many times on this channel. I had a friend. She was getting paid $20,000 less than people in her field. But the job interviewer's job is not to tell her she was getting paid $20,000 less. All he was supposed to do is say, this is a starting salary. How do you feel about that? That's legally all they're supposed to say to you. So it's not his job if she didn't know he was paying her $20,000 less. It was her job to go on Glassdoor and PayScale and figure that out. And she didn't do that to 2 years into the job. And people are like, you're in the tech field and you're working a part-time job. What's going on there? You didn't ask for the right amount of money. So the key here is, how do you 10x your money? You got to pay attention. Okay. Now, how do most people 10x their money? At their current job, they have to ask for raises. And some of you are like, well, Eric, I've been showing up work late. I really haven't done much. Okay. You may not be in a position to ask for your raise. Now, where else can we find the money? You may have to adjust your W-4, get your exemptions up, fix that information. I've done plenty of videos on that. What's another way? Using the money we currently have to buy things that produce income producing assets. So you guys see me hammer on this channel about Digit app and Acorn app, and getting that money automated. Because sometimes you may feel really motivated this month. Erica, we're going to do this, this, this. Oh, but kids' school comes around the corner and you decided not to put 20, 50, $100 away. That messes up your ultimate goal. The only way to 10x your money is to be consistent in your goal. Now, what's a goal for you guys, right? Put some in the comments while I'm talking. Definitely put in what are some of your goals this year? Because we only have technically, what, 4 more months? 4 more months left in this year. What are some of the goals you guys have in the rest of this year? So just put them in the comments. But the key here is when I talk about having one single focus, right? When I usually work with folks, I usually work with them for 90 days. 9 times out of 10, 90 days. Why? Because in 90 days, when they're focused and they got the lights turned on, they usually can fix their credit. They usually can go open up business bank accounts and get moving. Honestly, the steps aren't that complicated. We just get you an EIN number, get your LLC, get you a business bank account, put your $100 in there, maybe it's account depending on your bank. You've got the door open. You did more than most people who are dreaming of having a business have done, just in that step alone. Now, at this point, asking for credit, asking for business lines of credit, asking for business credit cards is the difference, right? It's the difference of a lifetime, because many people won't ask. They don't like hearing no. And somehow in our society, we've convinced people that if you hear no, it's bad. Now, I understand if you're a guy and you're asking girls out and they say no all the time, that's probably exhausting. But the same goes for at work, goes for projects. It goes for your everyday life. You guys heard me talk about my friend on the channel, who's also my business partner. He's knocked at this point probably closer to 30,000 doors, but he originally knocked 10,000 doors in Dallas. And people would go, how did you do it? He was like, well, I was 23 and I just kept knocking doors. I just kept going business after business after business every day, looking for the yes, looking for the opportunity to just get my foot in the door. And I think people are so scared of hearing no or hear someone turn them away that they don't realize that yes could be around the corner, that 10x is their money. A lot of times when people say, well, Erica, I'm tired of seeing bandit signs all over the place. The average person only puts about 10 out, just 10. If you want to make a hardcore dent in your city where you want to be the top dog or whatever, you want to get a lot of leads, it's 100 minimum. Now, let's be honest. It's 50 minimum for 12 weeks. So that means every 2 weeks, because sometimes the signs are in good spaces and they'll stay put up, but necessarily that first week, then that second week, around that third week, a lot of them got taken away. So you're talking about 50 signs. Let's just say 50 signs every 3 weeks put out for 12 weeks. That's 3 months. That's not 1 month. That's not 1 weekend. I'm going to put 50 signs out and people are going to be blowing my phone up. It's possible, but you probably need a higher number like 50. Now, if you really want to, like, I want to dominate a city, I'd put out 100 signs. If I want to be a home repair person, you know, for a painting company, if I want to put them out, I put them all out by newish neighborhoods. Now, I don't mean a brand new neighborhood, but a new-ish, right? Why? Because across the street, if you're building a new neighborhood, when you live in an older neighborhood and you're thinking about maybe we could sell our house and move over there, you're highly likely to call a repair company to start doing repairs in your house. Start getting those shutters fixed, start getting the rain system, start getting the fence repaired, just so you can see, like, okay, we fixed the house some. Do we want to stay here or do we want to move? So little things become the 10x power. And honestly, there's only a passionate few that will do this. As a prime example, there's a fitness channel I watch, and the guy, everybody's always accusing him of steroids. And I'm like, every day this guy's in the gym like 2-3 times a day. Like, it's a combination of genetics and time. It's what he does. This is his passionate moment. He owns a warehouse. He sells supplements. He's in there every single day. He's 27. You know, when you were 27, your body looked very different, right? But it's called a passionate few. It's just being passionate on a few ideals. Now, also the passionate few is because as the more you get to the top, there's very few people there. I can tell y'all right now, I've actually reached out and spoken to people I never thought I would, because they actually can see, oh, she's doing that too. Oh, she's trying to do that. Oh, she has a YouTube channel. Oh, she's been doing it for 3 years. There are so many people who I was like, man, you're super interesting. They have like 8 videos and quit. Or they had a website and they quit blogging last year because it wasn't doing what they wanted. But if they would have took an hour a day to go, how can I make more money off this blog? Is it affiliates? Is it ads? What are the small things I can do to make more money? I'd be in a whole different space. Does that make sense? So again, I see Desiree Jen. Hello, everybody. Hello. So another one is rewards in life matches one's service. You ever been at a job and some people are complaining about the workload, it's just too hard, and you go, their life usually matches their rewards. And another example is if you look at, I drive through neighborhoods and people say, well, Erica, that's judging. I drive through neighborhoods sometimes with my friend to look at, at vacant houses, abandoned houses, opportunities to make money, right? And I'll see a yard that looks ran down, but there's people living there. Here's my thought process on it. Your house, the outside of just your front yard, because your backyard can look like a hot mess and no one would know. But if you are so, the word I'm not going to use is lazy, but if you're so not motivated to cut your own front grass, whatever the reason, because you can get, homeless Billy dudes come around all the time knocking on the door to cut grass for like $20. So there's no kind of reason in there. But if you have a brand newish car that's washed and clean and the front yard's a hot mess, you've already shown me that you're not passionate. You may be passionate for the car, but you're not passionate enough to care for the outside. Another thing, when I walk around the neighborhood, there's several ladies who walk every single day. They are passionate about keeping up their health because they're doing it every single day. What you do every day speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you say. Does that make sense? When people tell me, Erica, I really want to do this thing, and then you're like, oh, I didn't make any time to do it in 2 and 3 weeks, well, you really didn't want to do this thing. You're talking about it, but you're not truly passionate and sold on it. So there's a book I'd love for you guys to grab called Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. Here's another one. If you're not first, you're last, which basically there's a part in the book where he talks about if you make one extra phone call a day, and this is talking about your regular 5-day work week. You make one extra phone call a day. At the end of your regular year of work, you would have made an additional 250 phone calls. Think about that. One extra phone call a day would have come out to 250 phone calls a year. So imagine if you did 5 extra calls a day. There's just different techniques here where I tell people, if you get passionate just enough, just do probably 10% more than other people, you'd be amazed how doors open up for you. You'd be amazed because most people do the bare minimum. The bare minimum. I'll give you an example. We're with Home Advisor for our painting and construction company, and we'll call people and we'll call them like 2-3 times, just to put that touch out there, like, hey, maybe we missed you. We're just giving you a call back because we saw you in the lead system. People will go, man, you're the only person who called me twice. Or you're the only person that called 3 times. We will go with you. That just shows you how different other people are working. Some people are working bare minimum. They made a phone call. They didn't get a call back. They quit. We made 3 phone calls. That's just the rule of thumb for the company. And so that just shows you, imagine all the people that gave her a call one time, maybe they were busy that day or next day, and then we gave them 2-3 more calls. It's just a difference. It's just a difference of doing just a little bit more. And trajectory. Like I remember this guy saying, if you're 50 and you still don't have the credit right, you ain't bought a house, you don't have no kind of retirement, it's going to be a rough ride for you. And it truly is. Now, if you're 35, you're 42, you're 27, you've got time, but let's believe there are people who have dropped dead at 50 all the time. There are people who fell out and had car accidents in their 40s. So don't try to put it off and say, well, I've got time. Write down that goal that's important to you. What is something you want to accomplish? Where's somewhere you're trying to go? If you're serious, you'll try to get there, right? So a lot of times I think people get mad when I talk about these 10-year plans or what are these 5-year plans. But the key is if you don't plan, you plan to fail. It's just that simple. So a lot of times I think it's offensive to people if they haven't had a plan or they haven't thought about it well enough. But that's the truth. So it's a passionate few. And if you really want to meet certain people, do it. But you have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. I remember this article says, without hard work, nothing grows but weeds. If you always want to put that garden in the backyard, you want to put this stuff in the house and you never do it, it just doesn't get done. Little by little, it works better. And even if you just have one goal, just a 90-day goal that you're going to knock out something for 90 days. You're going to hit it every day, whether that's walking the neighborhood every day, or that's checking your credit, fixing your credit, or that's every 90 days you're going to apply for new credit so you can go buy that rental you've always been talking about. It's completely up to you. So this was just a short one. I was just talking about mindset, just kind of getting out there going, what are some of the goals people have or that they're looking to do? So Kinsey, I think that's Kinsey Roberts Preach. Thanks. Well, anybody, yeah, like I see a few you're on, but if you guys have any goals that you're trying to reach at the end of the year, definitely put them in the comments. Always interested to see what are people thinking on right now. I think it's a Wednesday night, so it's hump day. So most people are like, oh, Friday, I can't wait for Friday. But I mean like your goals for the next 4 months in this year. Because you'll look up and it'll be 2018 before you know it. So that's always interests me, other people's goals, like what are some of their goals they're working on. And if you just say vacation, I'm okay with that. That makes sense. Sometimes people just have a vacation plan and they just want to successfully get there to it. Because if you don't plan your life, it gets chaotic. It gets muddy. You have to start enforcing things. I think because I come from a military family, I have a lot of military family members. My mom was military for 26 years. Like it was just boom, boom, boom. Every day you get up, you make your bed. Every day we do this. Every day we wash all dishes, make sure to sink clean up dishes before you go to bed. Every day was a schedule. And so as an adult, as a kid, I hated it, cried all the time about it. But now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, hard work and discipline create freedom. Right? So if I didn't discipline myself to do certain things for 3 years in a row, go get that real estate license, go try new things, go try new jobs, I wouldn't be here. So that's kind of how I look at it. Joe Morrow, how can I get my credit fixed? Like, what company is the fastest to get credit score good? Well, Joe Morrow, depends on what's going on with your credit. Like, I repair credit on this channel. It's always in the links below. But the key here is, what's your payment history look like? People like to jump up and add authorized users, but if your history is you don't pay, or your history is you have a ton of negative stuff on there, it's just going to take a minute to get it worked on. Because honestly, you guys could probably move faster by just honestly opening up a business, EIN number, LLC, business bank account, and starting to build a relationship there. Now, what do I mean by build a relationship? Put deposits in weekly. Put deposits in weekly for the next 4 months. And then for next month, you come in and ask. Fill out application. I mean, vendor lines of credit, like just building it up. Just a little bit by little bit. I mean, you'd be amazed at some banks when you're just making deposits. They're really like, oh. So Andre Hatchett, hey. Sean Berry, what is the best way to get in touch with you and help with a plan for real estate investing? Sean Berry, the links are always below. I'll put the links in here too. Kenzie says, my goal is to become a certified by the end of the year and obtain another rental property this year. Hold on, let me look up. Okay, all right, Kenzie, that's what's up. I mean, you got a quarter. You got like 4 months, There's time to do it. The key here is if you plan it, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. Just being honest. If you don't say, Erica, at this point, this is what I'm doing around this quarter. It's really that easy. Annette said, I have a hard time keeping a job because of my health, and I want to become an online reseller, but my parents disagree with that. Any ideals? Well, here's the problem. If you live with the parents, you kind of gotta, here's the thing when I tell people, if you live with roommates or you live with parents, people like to feel like you are busy. Does that make sense? They want to feel like, oh, okay, she's busy. And sometimes in the African-American community, I think people are harsher on their daughters than their sons. They go, oh, racism or something like that, right? But when it comes to their daughters, they're very much like, you need to have a job. You need to get your stuff going. You have to take care of yourself, right? So I think in the context of, if it's hard to keep a job, you can still do, Andre's on the line, you can do notary, you can do, become a notary, you can do Uber, Lyft, I don't know the extent of your health insurance, and still do reseller stuff. The key here is what type of reseller stuff. Sometimes people just go to yard sales on Saturday and find really good stuff, clean it up, wash it, clean it up, and then resell it. I mean, that's a part of reselling. There's many ways to get in there. Just depends. Just depends. Don't know enough about you, didn't get enough information to kind of go, hey, you should do this. But that's the deal. Like, also, if you live with your parents and you keep doing it every weekend, you keep borrowing a piece of their garage every weekend to clean things and resell them, and you don't ask them for money and you don't ask them for stuff, all of a sudden they start believing you. Like, I've even told you guys on this channel and with my painting company, I had to like show my mom my bank receipts to be like, I am a serious businesswoman. And it wasn't that she didn't believe me, but it was an extra like, like it clicked that this person has been consistently doing this thing and it really is paying off. Does that make sense? Even the emails, I started emails and testimonials from clients, and it's just like, that's when it clicks for people, because your family will always see you as your daughter, or they always see you as that cute cousin or that little niece. And there's just ways people see you that have nothing to do with you, have nothing to do with you. Like you have to sometimes almost get 10x busy with your life and see them about this much in afternoons. Just being honest. Like I had a friend, he literally worked night to day, and his dad was like, you know what, you've been working night and day. I will give you $1,000 to help you move into your new place, to help you start with your life, or I'll pay off your car. What can I do to help you? And that's just, people see that and they respect it. So Joe Morrow, go ahead and hit me up for a consult. Put the links in the below, because I don't know what the thing is on your credit. Jewel Jackson, hello, Curly Erica. Finally got on a live stream. Andre, no lies told. Seriously, what are some of y'all guys' goals this year? That's why I'm big on this, because you just got to see where people are at. Some people, right now, I've told you guys this multiple times. Our family goes on a corporate family cruise. It's tax written off cruise every year in November. The week of Thanksgiving, we'll have a very light Thanksgiving dinner, get on a bus and go to Florida, or get on the plane and go to Florida and go out on a cruise for 7 days. It's just, we do it like clockwork since I was 15 years old. So we've been doing it almost 15 years now. So the key is, most people be like, girl, I'm broke. But here's the funny thing. While we're on the cruise, our aunt who works for Carnival sets up the next year's cruise, and all you got to give is $50. If it's kids, it's like even less. It's like $100. And you can make payments until next year. That means you got 11 months. And if in 11 months you can't come up with $400 or $500, you need to reexamine your life. Now, what happens to most people around February, March, April? They get their tax refund. Now, what do they do with it? They do what they do with it, right? They get cars, they get crap, they get stuff. Our family would make sure, if everybody wasn't paid and caught up, we'd have an aunt or uncle who would just catch everybody up. Like, hey, make sure you're paying, caught y'all all up. You have to make a plan. And even if it's just a $500 cruise, for you to go hit Mexico and Cayman Islands and go snorkeling and eat food for a week with your family, it's up to you. You create this life. Does that make sense? Like, when you don't have aim, you become more unhappy. I've heard many people say, oh, marriage is boring. But what was your point of getting married? Was it just to be happy all the time? Your point of being married is to actually build something and personal growth. I know people don't like that. It's not popular. But a lot of Black artists and Black writers have been saying it lately, and people get mad. But the key here is, it wasn't for you to be holding hands and happy and laughing and coming home and watching Netflix every day. It was supposed to be to build something. Build a family, build with kids, build some assets, personal growth. People don't like growth. So again, aim. You have to aim. So you have to decide, where are we going with this? Where is it going? And it's not just relationships. It's like your personal life. Where are you going? I know there's some conferences coming up and that I really want to be a part of. So hopefully October will be smooth, be a part of VidCon. Now, why do I want to do that? Back on the topic of the passionate few. There's going to be probably 1,000 people there who are all bloggers and podcasters, and every one of them. And again, there's a book I always talk about, The Power of Who. The Power of Who says, get a piece of paper and write out 150 people you know. Now, I'm going to ask you to not even write your family, and see how far you get when you don't write your family in there. Because 9 times 10, I'll see people write all their family members, and I'm like, no. I didn't say your family. I said, who do you know outside of your family? Who, right? And with Facebook and LinkedIn, sometimes people think they know people, but I say, is it somebody that would vouch for you? Is it someone that would buy services from you? Is it somebody that would work with you? And that's what I mean when I say who. Okay. So you get that piece of paper, you write out the 150 names, 140, 150 names, but you got to realize, each one of those people on that paper, they know 150 people. And so when I talk about the passionate few, is when I go to that conference and there's 1,000 bloggers there, 1,000 YouTubers, podcasters, whatever you want to call them, they're all doing all kinds of stuff. Each one of those people may know 600 people. So by accessing that 1,000, I'm accessing really 60,000 people or 600,000. You just never know. Everybody net worth of people, circle of influence is different. And so when I say passionate few, many people won't sacrifice a Saturday to go do that. They won't sacrifice a Thursday to go do that. especially during football season. Just saying, they won't sacrifice that. Real estate seminars and investing stuff. When you look in that room, there's about 5% that are really going to do it. When you go to the RIA groups and people are there every week and you ask them, have they bought a deal? Have they closed a deal? What are they doing? There's some people who are in the season of gardening. And if you know anything about credit, we call it being in the garden. Like, let's say you get your first credit card, or you get a first couple, you get a secure loan, secure credit card, and another credit card. Now you got your 3 accounts and you're in the garden as you're waiting for your credit to build up in like 6 months. Because let's be honest, if you've got like nothing on there and you got 3 cards, all of a sudden you can have a 700 credit score. But, you know, banks are going to be like, this is $500 credit cards. Like, that's not really, I'm not giving you $1 million off that. But most people, if they're saying they have a history of stuff that's on their credit is bad, it's negative, and they're cleaning it up, they're in the garden. Now, some of you, that's okay to be in the garden of life. The garden of life is, Erica, I'm going to this place next year. I'm going to Ghana next year on a group tour, and it's $2,400. Great. That means you've got 12 months to build up to it, or 6 months, or whatever, how many months. You'll be amazed when people have a goal, how much money they will find in their budget and put it there. Surveys even show on our way going to a vacation, we are more happy than when we are there and when we get back. Why is that? Because we're aiming, we have direction. Okay, like this year I'm going with my family to Hawaii. I didn't want to go with my family to Hawaii because I was like, I don't know about that. This is our 1 year where everybody's going to Hawaii. But I looked up on, I think it was Wow Foods, Andrew Zimmerman or something like that. And he was going to all of these places off the beaten path in Hawaii. Not the tourism stuff, but like the off beaten path, like the grocery store with all the different Asian foods, you know, the buffet, the pork wrapped in cabbage and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm sold. That's so interesting and different. That's what makes Hawaii, Hawaii. And I want to go see that. And so all of a sudden I had a goal. Now I know in November this year, I'm going with family to Hawaii. Is that something I imagined? No. But now that I have that goal, all I'm going to do before that goal happens is review and study Hawaii. What are some of the best places to go? Some of the best things to do. That'll suck up maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes every afternoon looking for things to do in Hawaii when I get there. And the weather. That's the same when it comes to business or life. I know everybody's upset about, stuff they're seeing on the news or Trump or things they don't have control over, but let's put our focus back on what we do have control over, right? Like, you control what you focus on. If you don't want to watch Fox News at your house, you don't watch Fox News, do you? If you don't want to watch MSNBC, you don't watch it. Like, prime example, I went over to one of my aunt's houses and they had on like some crappy TV show, daytime show about like paternity court or something. I literally got up and sat on the front porch and all of them were like, what are you doing? I don't want to put that in my mind. I don't want to watch that garbage. As we're waiting on everybody to get in the car to go to this event. But I'm like, I don't even want that to be in my mind. I don't even want to have thoughts about it. So you control what you focus on. And some people say, well, Erica, you don't know my living situation. You don't know my work situation. You still control what you're listening to on your way to work, what you're listening to on your ride home, books, podcasts, encouraging, motivational stuff. You don't have to get the recognition from your coworkers. And I have many clients who say, Eric, I told my coworkers about investing in property and my credit, and they don't get it. And I'm like, but it wasn't for them. It was for you. If you want to talk with people about that, go to seminars, go to conferences, go to RIA groups. That's where they're at to talk about what you want to talk about. Your coworkers are not your friends. They're situational friends. They're a coworker friend. Now, if you call your coworker at 2 a.m. and your tire's flat on the road, are they coming to get you? Are they coming to help you change your tire? No, then that's not your friend. Okay. So again, decide what you focus on. I'm gonna read some of you guys more stuff here. Jewel Jackson, for that cruise airline transfer, is that not in those monthly payments? Is there? Okay. So for example, if we go to Carnival, and because we've gone so many times, and this is a little secret, they give you a card, and each year you go, they change the color of the card. It takes a couple of cruises, but then they change the color of your card. Now, if you ever see our family cards, they're all gold and platinum. Now, what does that mean? Platinum color, not like actual platinum. That means we've been on X number of trips. So a cruise that might be $800 for you, 7 days, is $400 for us, or $500 for us, or cheap as I don't know what, right? Because we're buying it at a group at one time. So let's say, and you just have to have it paid up before you go for the next 60 days before. So what does our family do? We've actually invited other people, some people from my aunt's church to come, and we rent a little cargo van. We're in a cargo van. Now you can do airplane and all that stuff wrapped into it, but 9 times out of 10, like instead of us driving 14 hours, we would literally just hire a bus, throw our stuff up underneath it, and they drive us down, and a bus takes us back. And it's actually way cheaper than you think. If you get a charter bus, people do it all the time. Oh, honey, I mean, it's like, I'm not gonna say it's like dirt cheap, but essentially, I think it ended up costing us maybe, was it 100 per person? We had like a 30-person bus. I think it was like 100 per person once you get it down. If you look for, again, the thing about time, like the cruise, people, if you look for a flight 6 months in advance, a flight to Tampa, Florida, maybe only be $200. Do you see what I'm saying? It may only be $200, and even airlines have credit. They've actually, there's things where it says save my flight, and 7 days later they'll, let's say you get paid on Friday, but this Friday that flight is $150, and if you wait a little bit longer, it's gonna be more expensive. You can actually lock your flight in, and when next Friday comes, when your 7-day time period, it'll actually charge your card. And there you go. And they actually give you a couple times there on that card. Like they go, whoops, we charged your card. It wasn't accurate. Would you like to call us and give us a different card so we can lock in your plane at that same exact price? So there's ways around it. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, we've done this for 15 years. So our transportation is cheap. We know the man's family that drives us. We just have it down to a science at this point. It's pretty funny. The only time this year is going to be crazier is because we are flying as a family to California, and then from California we get on a plane to Hawaii, and then on Hawaii we get on a cruise. It's going to be so cruisy. It's going to be a little bit of cruise and a little bit of off, like as you get off. I think we have a day or two before we get on the plane. So it's going to be crazy this year. It's going to be interesting, but crazy. And it's a little bit more expensive. So I think it's down to 15 family members instead of like the big 30 group, right? Because some of them have already gone to Hawaii, because I told you I have military family that was stationed there. So they did short visits. And this time it's more like, I've already visited. So some people are not going. But in general, we usually live out of Florida, Tampa, Orlando, wherever. And we go to Mexico. I've been to Panama. I've been to Belize. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Haiti, but on the side where the white beaches are. Real clear white beaches. Been to Dominican Republic. We've been to Puerto Rico. We've been to, you name it, we've touched it almost down there. Half Calf Moon, Roatan, Honduras. Like, I love when we went to Belize and Panama and Honduras, because we would walk around as a family, walk around really, really like low key and go into the city because we were brown like the people there. So sometimes they'd be talking Spanish to us, and my aunt would be like, what? Because I have an aunt, my hair is super curly, but my aunt's hair was down to here, like curly hair, natural. Water, she'd get out the shower and she'd walk around. And so they're talking Spanish to her, and she's like, no. And so I like the cruise because I think there are some people who've never left their city, never left their town, and it's simple travel. Some people look down on it, but honestly, for the amount of Americans who never leave their town or go anywhere, it's perfect. It's perfect. So Antoinette, which one do you think is more important, being debt-free or building credit? Baby, you can do both at the same time. Because let's see an example. Let's say you have $1,000 with your tax return, right? Let's say you have $1,000 with your tax return. Let's just, for example. And you come to the bank and you put it in a secure loan. They turn around and give it right back to you. That's how that works. You take it and put it on a secure card. Now, for the rest of the year, you just make, let's say you don't even want to do a secure card. Let's do this. Let's say you take that loan one time and then turn around and do it 2 times. So now you have 2 lines of credit that are $1,000. And as you make payments on them, because they're a secure loan, depending on your bank, they'll just come right back to you, right? So you pay 40 in, 40 comes back to your account. Like it's literally like that. It's a secure loan. The money is holding it, depending on the bank. Now that's a pledge loan. Sorry. That's Navy Federal's pledge loan, where you give $1,000 and they give it right back to you. Some of the secure loans, depending on the banks, you give them $1,000, they hold it, and as you make payments, the money comes back to you. So there's different banks Let me clarify before people get to their bank and call me and cuss me out. But what happened is that bill, like as you pay payments on that for a year, you're still becoming debt free, but you're also still at the same time building your credit. And the thing to me, I always tell people Dave Ramsey before Robert Kiyosaki, right? Because if you don't have a plan for credit, you'll just spend it. If you don't have a concrete plan of investment, you will just spend it. So you have to, like, it might be better for you to just get debt free. Jules Jackson, yes, it is. I don't know. Make humanity great. What's good, Erica? Life is always very, very good. So it was just a short video I was doing tonight, but essentially that's, so few people. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. We've been on the cruises so much. There are families that we both live in North Carolina. Some of them live in South Carolina. Some live in Georgia. They are cruising the same time every year we are. Every time. Like some year we'll see them, some years we don't. We don't even know these people, but we know them from the cruise. And sometimes we'll like, y'all want to go eat breakfast? It's been like the 5th year seeing them, and it's kind of funny. So. Sorry, reading this one comment. Okay. Andre Hatchett says, credit. Listen, credit. The funny thing I talk about, one reason I talk about credit, there are people, I am telling you from personal experience working as a realtor, personal experience working an apartment manager. Some people, they will lose their job and they will swipe their credit card for their expenses this month of maybe $2 or $3 grand. And they'll be like, oh, I'm so sad I lost my job, but I'm still looking for the job I want. And then they wait a month and get the job they want. There are some people who have no credit cards, no credit, no access to credit. They can't even get a payday loan. And then they make bad decisions based on that circumstance. Or they have to go turn around and work, deliver pizzas and drive Uber and do all this stuff really quickly, because if they don't, they'll lose their home, they'll lose their car. I'm in 10 credit repair groups. And every time of the week, there is somebody in there going, I got in a car accident. I got hurt. I couldn't make my car payments. My car payments got repossessed. And now I'm about to be homeless. Now, we can say all day, no judgment, Erica. Don't judge him or her. But the key was, it took 6 months to get there, right? It took about 3 months for you to get that car repossessed. In that time frame, you should have worked anywhere. If you don't have a credit card to help you pay that car payment, or you don't have access to business lines of credit where you could just turn around and bought a car, $2,000 car off the side of the road, yeah, it's kind of bad. I mean, credit is that important. So that's why I say the little technique of, most times I tell clients, if they got a really thin file, I'm like, dude, we can get you a secure card, a secure loan, pay on them, and your file's thin in 6 months, you got a bump, because it's the past 24 months that are most important. It's your payment history. So a lot of times people say, well, I know somebody with an 800 credit score. Doesn't matter if they don't make a lot of income. They're not getting $1 million credit cards. They're not getting $100,000 credit cards. They're not getting $50,000 credit cards. They're not getting $50,000 business lines of credit. Not happening. You can get those things if you've been working on your credit, you're steady with your payment history, and you set up your bank account, business bank accounts. If they ever take a peek, a lot of people are like, I don't want a PG. I want to be completely separate. That's true, but banks can take a peek anytime they want. That's their choice. They either not, but most of your information's out there. So you want to be in order. Make humanity great again. Hey, Andre, I sent you a message. Jay-Z says, Judah owned because of credit. Here's the thing. I will say this, and people get upset about Jay-Z's thing and other people's stuff. If I give 2 people a $20,000 credit card, and one person buys stuff, like she was talking about earlier, to resell and make more money, double up their money, or have a flea market shop on the weekends, and then the other person takes the 20 grand and they slowly but surely spend it on food and going out and vacations and just nothing. And then one person complains, well, I didn't get access to bank loans. And the other person's like, but I used what I had. That's the difference, right? And people may say, Erica, it's more than that. It is, but I can tell you right now, there's people I could give a $50,000 credit card to, and they still would make the same decision. One would do something productive and one would not. It is where their focus is. It's where their focus is. Your mind has got you to where you are. Anytime I get stuck in my business or I get stuck in friendships, or I get stuck in life, I go ask somebody who knows more or is a little bit better. I go, am I missing something? Because my thinking has got me to this level. So my thinking might not be able to get me out. Does that make sense? Might need some input. Antoinette says, I have 25,000 in debt and behind on a lot of payments, school and medical, going to do side hustles to do anything I can. So here's the thing. Some of that medical, you might be able to do a pay per delete letter and get pay only like 25% of what what the debt is, right? To give you an example, I have clients every day of the week that have like 300,000, like $500,000, like $1 million in debt. So I know 25,000 sounds like a lot, but you can do it. You can knock out 25,000. Let's even divide it right now. I'm gonna say on my phone. Let me think about it. Let's say you want to buy a house in 2 years, right? We're just giving an example. And 25,000. Let's divide it by. Let's just say 3 years. Takes you 3 years. So in 3 years, every month you pay about $600 in debt pay down. But let's do this. Let's say we cut that medical in half with some authors, some disputes. We talk to the guy, we talk to the bank. We say, hey, listen, hey, this medical bill, I can't pay this. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but every hospital has hardship letters. They're down in the billing office. You can ask for them and fill them out. So let's say you cut that debt down to half, and it's just 12,500, and you want to buy a house in 2 years. You're still going to pay around $500 a month getting that debt removed. But guess what? If you had just a part-time job you had a full-time job and a part-time job that pays, and all your part-time job money pays that debt off. Let's say you work at Starbucks every weekend and on Friday night, and that gives you $1,000 or something a month from working at Starbucks. Take that $1,000 every month and pay that debt off. You'll be done in a year. I mean, it just depends. It's all math, and it's all the way you do it. Right? You have to figure out ways to get around some of it. And sometimes you might take you 5 years to pay something off. I would rather you do 2 years, because when you say 2 years, like if I can hammer through this and at 27 I'll be done. Or if I hammer through this and this time I'll be done, it's much better. Because even Barack Obama and Michelle Obama had student loan debt and they were in the White House. Like the first year of them getting into the White House, they had student loan debt. What? Y'all damn 40-something years old. Like, if you don't focus on it, it'll just keep going with you in life. And that's why student loan debt is so dangerous if people aren't thinking ahead, right? So I was at school and I took all these business classes and finance classes. And I remember just going to a class where he's like, this is how you can buy a home. So we had about 4 girls in there. 2 of them I knew. I didn't know the other 2, but 2 of them I knew. They had like poor white trash parents who were like on drugs and living in trailers and not doing well. And they would get these, $5,000 to $10,000 refund checks at students' time, and they couldn't tell their parents for the money, and they would be scared to give it to them. Those girls went with me to that class, and I promise you, within the next year, when they got their refund check, they went and found a $55,000 townhouse, and one moved into it. The other 2 girls I didn't know, they ended up buying a duplex in Greenville, putting their monies together, putting both their names on the mortgage, and getting that the duplex. And they lived in one unit and rented the other side out. But they were all kind of waitressing and doing whatever they could to make money while in college, because their parents didn't make good decisions, right? So the key here is it's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you knew what you knew before, everybody could do better. But that's not always the case. Jewel Jackson, yes. But at the end of the day, this is my thing. Just like with Bitcoin, I will not recommend people do Forex or Bitcoin or stuff they don't know. You never invest in things you do not know. That is the quickest way to lose money. That is gambling, essentially. Right now, if you're going to say, hey, do you know about that? And get her and teach her and do hours of training, like a month of training, then I'd be like, yes, Forex. If you're going to do hours of training, months of training. But there are people who, I lost 4,000 in penny stocks, and we were all in a class where a teacher was teaching it. And he was like, what are y'all doing? I just showed you penny stocks to teach you. We were supposed to start switching over to blue chips. Like, you guys are not listening. So even under direct instruction, me and several other people lost money. So I think it's important to start where you are. Like, if you know carpet cleaning, And carpet clean, knock doors, put out signs, carpet clean. If you know grass cutting, cut grass. You have to just, a lot of times people are broke and choosy. Does that make sense? A lot of people say, well, I want to flip houses, Erica, because that's sexy. I have no money, no credit, no time. Like, you have to do what you can where you are. So yes, I've heard of Forex exchange program, but I am very big on, I want people just to do stuff they know or they can be taught with hours of training. Make humanity great again. I totally agree, Erica. It's very much cultural, and culture is determined by those who have power. I'm going to agree and not agree because it's class, not necessarily race, because I'll put it to you this way. I was in Maryland with my mom. We were at Fort Meade, and we were supposed to go visit one of her friends who was like a colonel. I mean, he was high ranking. Okay. And we went to this neighborhood. We're driving her nice BMW. We go to the gate. It's a gated community. I was like, oh, he lives somewhere really nice. We drove through this gated community of $1 million homes, and they were all Black people. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And he was just explaining to us the whole community was full of business owners and people who own real estate and people who are nurses and other military people, high-ranking military people. And it blew my mind, but it also reminded me in that moment that those people never associated with people in Baltimore. They probably are as far away from Baltimore as they can be, right? Because it's the circle of influence. Again, the 140 people you know. I will even say, like, I remember there was a group of Black fraternity guys. They all end up working at Wachovia and Wells Fargo. It was like 50 of them. And you're like, wait a minute. Did y'all all major in being a loan officer? No, they didn't. They just all knew people and all got in there. So a lot of it is who you know, not always what you know. And so when you have young kids, I'm always encouraging kids, you need to be in after school programs. You need to be in Key Club, volunteering. I remember one year I volunteered with Key Club, and I was 19 years old, and I was in East Carolina, and I came back home to volunteer, and I was with these 4 older white guys, and they were going to send some more girls, so it would just be these 4 older guys doing the bread truck. We were doing like moving food boxes, and every single one was a VP at a bank. And after the whole day of me working and being nice, they literally asked me and the 2 other girls, hey, if you guys ever need a job, give us a call. If you ever need a reference, give us a call. You guys are great kids. Give us a call. And I was Black. The one girl was half Korean, half Black, and the other girl was white. But in that moment, we were in a room with a bunch of vice presidents of 4 different banks who did their mandatory volunteering amount of time a year. And they worked hard. They didn't show off. They weren't fancily dressed. They were all kind of older white guy, khakis and pants, But in that moment of putting yourself to serve others, volunteering, you met 4 vice presidents of banks. So again, I tell people, not always who's in charge. Mm-hmm. Very true. Mindset, very important. I see what you're saying now. Now, here's my only conflict with that. People will look at their parents, and their parents are doing bad financially, doing bad in life, overweight, something, but you will have men, sometimes Black men, white men, whoever, online, like, all these women need to be in shape and working out. First, dude, are you in shape working out? Are you running every day? And if not, if you are you then talking to your mother and making sure she's running every day? Right? So it starts with your circle of influence, because you can see culture that's inappropriate and know the right thing to do. These kids have things called cell phones. I have 2. People have cell phones at their own disposal every single day of the week, and could look up things, could Google things, could try to research things, but people are choosing not to. They want to choose entertainment and comfort. Why do you think cat videos and music videos and fitness videos rule YouTube? People just want to feel good. They just want to look at stuff and goof off. So this is a short one, just trying to finish this out. But again, it's a passionate few. How to 10x your money, 10x your time, is you have to get real focused. You have to get real niche down on some of these things. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. You guys have been awesome. If you ever want to talk to me, contact me. The links are always below. And everybody who watched tonight, have a great year. There's 4 more months. Decide some goals for yourself. Give yourself something to aim for. It makes a world of difference. So everybody, this is Erica, Classy Con Blog. Later.